Welcome to the Barrel Room Podcast, your front row seats to the world of whiskey and bourbon. In every episode, we're pouring up something we're talking about, from small batch standouts to big label legends. We sip, review, and break it all down one pour at a time. We'll talk tasting notes, tell stories, give the occasional review on real-life experiences, and every now and then bring in a special guest from the industry to share a pour and a conversation. This podcast is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors. Edward Jones, Chris Bridget, Age, Wisdom, Bold Strategies. Fallen Buds Craft Experience. Crafted in honor, shared in remembrance. Bowie's Liquor. Pouring paradise one bottle at a time. The Barrel Room Bourbon Plum. Pull up a chair. We're waiting for you on the inside. And Grillo's Chop and Barrel, where fine whiskey meets fine meat. So pull up a chair, have a pour as we dive into this week's episode of the Barrel Room Podcast. This pour of the Barrel Room is brought to you by Edward Jones financial advisor Chris Ridgick. Just like a well-aged whiskey, a solid financial plan takes time, patience, and the right guidance. Whether you're investing for the future or planning your next big barrel pick, Chris is here to help you build a strategy that fits your goals and your lifestyle. So let's raise a glass to smart decisions and visit edwardjones.com/Chris Ridgick to get started. And now, this week's episode of the Barrel Room Podcast, let's welcome our hosts, Kenny Gales and Brian Biskey.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Barrel Room Podcast. As you can see, we have a special guest here today. I want to remind you guys that are listening out there and or watching, make sure you like, share, comment, anything along those lines. Remember, at the end of the month, if you're in the top 3 of our fans, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a free bottle of whiskey, thanks to Grillo's Chop and Barrel. But without further ado, I'd love to introduce Dan from Good News Brewing.
What's up? How you doing?
Cheers,
Cheers,
Dan.
guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks for doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I've been out to your place in Defiance a lot of times.
Me
Pizza
too.
and beer, man. That's where it's at.
I'm a pizza lover. Ask my wife.
Yeah.
Every night. What do you want for dinner? I'll take pizza.
And you always got great live
And then
music out there.
Yeah.
The wood fire pizza on top of it, just icing on the cake. For me.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's a story I'll probably get into a little bit. You know, we wanted to just make beer and have a little pub, but it was like, gotta have food. Well, what goes good?
Nothing better. Pizza.
Pizza,
Right.
beer. Yeah.
Worked out well.
So why don't you start there? Tell us about the story. Like, how did you get into this? Because I also know you're a teacher.
Yeah.
My wife was a teacher for 12 years. So just kind of give us the background on how Good News Brewing became Good News Brewing.
Sure. Well, as a teacher, my goal was to be a principal, an administrator, to build up, those my career in education, and I loved it. And but my dream was also to own a brew pub someday. Just always had a passion for pizzas, and I knew I wanted to open like a pizzeria. And then I'm a crafty kind of person, so I like to learn how to make things. So I focus on making good pizzas. Well, then I heard about like a homebrew supply store that was. Let me back up. My wife gave me a Mr. Beer kit.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And that turned out to be a complete disaster.
Mine was too, by the way.
And I gave up on it. I was like, I quit, whatever. That's not going to work out. And then I heard about a homebrew supply store and that you can make beer. And so I went there, got to meet people, started drinking their beer. I'm like, wow, you actually made this in your house? I'm like, yeah. And so then I got hooked. I started joining clubs, started reading, listening to podcasts, and just learning, and just like, I'm going to make beer someday. I'm going to own a brewery now. It's not just going to be a pizza place. When I retire from teaching, we'll do that. I got okay at it, not great. Went to the full, most brewers start out with the extract kits, and then they move up to the all grain kits, and then they do an electric kit in their basement. And mine was very sketchy and dangerous. There was one time I remember I went to go put the kids up to bed, and I left the pot while it was the whirlpool was going, and the hose popped out. And all of the beer fell onto the floor. Went under the carpet and the whole entire house. I thought my wife was going to kill me, but she saw how sad I was and was crying about the lost beer that she forgave me. So she saw my passion in it and just knew that I wanted to do this. I'm very involved. We've been very involved in our church and our faith and our ministry. We used to do a lot of mission work. And
mind if I ask what church?
Yeah, it was Morning Star Church out here in St. Charles, and we did a lot of mission trips.
You know Scott Van Hoy?
Yeah,
he's my neighbor.
Oh, awesome.
And his neighbor.
Yeah, definitely. We were going on mission trips a lot and doing that, but that just became kind of difficult to leave and pay thousands of dollars to go on those mission trips. So we started doing some local missions, and we used to make breakfast for some of the homeless shelters here in St. Charles. And when people ask like, what do you like, why are you doing this? And I was like, well, we're just here to share good news. And that was kind of our phrase of what we did. Cool. And that was, that was back then. Yeah. Then fast forward, it's like we had a Bible study, and the Fair family joined our Bible study, and I was like, hey, I'm a home brewer. Matt was like, yeah, I'm a home brewer too. I was like, hey, you want to come check out the brew system? He's like, yeah, I'm a brewer too. And so he saw my little rinkety system, and he's like, this guy can do it. I can do a lot better than him. He was a mechanic by trade, and so we started brewing beer in his basement, and Josh was a worker of, not a worker. It was a friend of his that they worked together, at Honda. And so the three of us formed a friendship, and we just started brewing beer together. We read a book study by Hugh Halter. He was a pastor, and he wrote and the book was called Flesh. It was about how Jesus took on flesh and blood, and he was human, he was tangible. And the idea of the book was, don't just focus on inviting people to church, but instead invite people to your house, your neighborhoods. So we decided to build a 1-barrel brew system because we knew that we wanted to go pro someday. Like by this point, we were putting out some batches. Like we were brewing weekly. I mean, so every day we're brewing. We're brewing 15 every week. We're doing 15 gallons of beer and splitting between the three of us. And so we knew if we wanted to go professional, we have to brew in barrels. You can't brew in gallons, because a 1-barrel recipe can be easily converted to a 10-barrel or a 100 or a 7, where if you're doing gallons, it just doesn't really convert. Yeah. So we built a 1-barrel brew system in the basement, and we're just like, this is like 30, 40 gallons of beer that we're making. It's like, we can't drink of it. So once a week we had our Bible study, and it was a way to invite friends, family, and whoever, just say, hey, come out on Friday nights. We're on, the first Friday of the month, we're brewing beer, eating pizza, and hanging out and sharing good news. So that's how it started. We took our beer to local charities, and the Belgian White was one of our beers that we took to the Habitat for Humanity had a little craft festival in O'Fallon, and we took that beer there. We got third place. The Pale Ale, we took it to a library event, and it was we had to name the beer after a book. And someone drank it, and they're like, this is like the perfect storm. So some lady who we have no idea who she was here in St. Charles named the Perfect Storm beer. So that's our Pale Ale. American IPA is just that was our favorite beer to drink. So we just got to have one of those. The Hazelnut Coffee Milk Stout was a mistake that turned out to be amazing. We were going to do a coffee stout, but Matt got hazelnut coffee, and I was so mad at him. And I was like, dude, why are you putting hazelnut? You don't buy flavored coffee. You just don't do flavored coffee. And he put flavored coffee, and I was like, dude, you just ruined the beer. And then I drank it, and I was like, oh, this is we're on to something. So that's been one of our. So some of our staple beers are just the beers that we brewed in our basement. That's crazy. And that's what people know us for. And so like when we opened up, we're like, these beers can't change. They have to be here all the time.
What was your first location?
So we decided to finally, like, we had that edge, like, we're making some really solid beers. I had a falling out with my school and education route. I was like, you know what, I'm done with education. Let's just focus on this brewery. And so we started looking for real estate. That's a whole other conversation. We can have another day. Yeah. When you start your real estate podcast, we can discuss that.
For sure.
The challenges of buying commercial real estate in an area. No one wanted to give me the time of day. Yep. We're an established business. Banks didn't really want to talk to you. We finally found a space in North O'Fallon. We're like, this place is way too small. It's not going to work out. It's like, you know what? It had a handwritten, for lease sign on it. So we called up the owner. It was Tammy. And they're like, I was surprised to actually even talk to the owner, because normally you're dealing with, commercial real estate, people. But I was like, how much do you even want for this space? She's like, we don't know. It's it's not finished out. We'll probably take like $700 a month. Like, I'll take it. Yeah. I mean, $700. We can split that between the three of us, and we'll figure it out. Like,
sure, of course.
It was a ready, fire, aim moment. And so we jumped on it. We're like, let's do it. We're gonna figure it out. And then we had to figure it out. Then we had to figure out how we get financing, and we had to go to all the banks. And it's a challenge, and that's the entrepreneur kind of journey for any entrepreneur. It's like you go and you figure it out along the way. So long story short, we opened up in North O'Fallon, And
Was that off
we
of
were.
K?
It's off Sondern
Sondern,
Street.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, it used to be the old Patke's ice cream, so people in the St. Charles area know it.
What is it still there?
The location's still there, but yeah.
What's in the location right now? Is there like a?
It's a laundromat.
Yeah.
So
a different
Tammy
place then, I'm
Tammy
sorry.
bought the laundromat. They were in the laundry business, and they had this little space next door to it, and it's about this big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even 1,000 square feet. So
Gotcha.
we
I'm
took
thinking of a
over
different
that
spot.
space, and that space was, I mean, it was crazy. We had 300 followers on our Facebook page. We were like, oh, Good News.
Yeah.
Like we had a website, we had a logo, we had all this stuff to like make us look like a real
course.
company, even though we weren't. We posted out there on social like, hey, we're taking over this space. We're going to open the first brew pub at O'Fallon. We went from 300 to 3,000 followers overnight.
Holy
And then by the time we opened, we had good 6,000 followers on social media. So when we opened up, we were selling more beer than we could physically make.
That's
So
incredible.
we were crushing it. People, it was the right time, the right area, the right everything.
And a little bit of faith.
And a lot of
I mean,
fun.
I was going
Right.
to say, yeah.
Things happen for a reason.
Well,
so,
yeah,
Right.
and
that
I'm a
was
true
meant to
believer
be.
that if you live by your faith
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
walk by your faith, and
It's
it's
I remember when you guys first opened, my wife and I went in there, and we had a pizza and a couple beers, and I can't remember if it was you or one of the other guys there, but they ended up taking. My wife was so curious.
Yep.
She wanted to see how it was brewed because
Yeah.
you had
Oh, yeah.
the 4 little
Yeah.
fermenters in
Yeah.
the back
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and so. The guy's like, "Oh, come on back,"
Yeah,
and it could have been
sure.
you, honestly.
No.
And come on back, and you're
Yeah.
sitting there explaining it to my
Yeah.
wife and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
this was years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just kind of cool to see where it was now, or then, and where it is now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to actually now be able to talk to you and interview you and put
Yeah.
you on this. You know, so
Yeah.
it's neat.
and I think that's probably some of our success was we were there. We were physically there. We were present. We were talking to tables.
Yeah.
It's not just some random restaurant or something.
Yeah, and you were open to doing the one-off. Here, come on back. Let's
Yep.
show you what
Yep.
we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
it was a homely, open environment. You know, come on in. We're just
Absolutely.
here to be people helping people and be a
Yep.
part of it. You know,
That's
be a
my
part of the
whole motto.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell
He
people
always
all the
says it.
time,
That's
Yeah,
It's true,
I'll
though.
reach out. Like I've been talking to Lit the last couple of days on sponsoring the show, and Brian and Andrew who own it were like what's going to cost? I said, I don't know. We'll figure that
Right,
out.
right.
I'm just
Yeah.
people helping
Right,
people.
right.
Like
Yeah.
if I help you, you help me. Guess what? We all do better.
Yep.
Right. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's all it's all about. So
Yeah,
I
it
love
is.
how you said that.
Yeah, and then not only do I love your wood-fired pizzas, however, that same night we got, I think it was the s'mores pizza,
Yeah, okay,
the dessert
yeah,
pizza.
okay, yeah,
So,
yeah.
because I think, I can't remember who was working there, but
Yeah.
anyway, they're like, you got to try the dessert pizza. So they threw that in there. So we tried that. And
We got to bring that back now. We don't even have that.
Oh,
That
you-
was-
no?
we don't even have that.
It was phenomenal.
Oh my
So
God.
my wife's
All
like,
right, there
oh
we
my
go.
gosh.
All right.
There you go. It sounds like
Yeah.
it's coming
There we go.
back.
You guys hear
Yeah.
that dessert pizza? We got to start putting that on the menu.
That's funny.
That's
That's
good.
funny.
So anyway,
So after that location, obviously you grew that pretty quick. It sounds like.
Yeah, so we were selling more beer than we could physically make, which was a great problem to have, but also a huge challenge. So we had to use another brewery. We had to give our recipes to another brewery.
Oh no.
They had to make the beer, and we had to buy it from them. And
Oh.
so, I mean, it just didn't make sense. We were doing very well. I was a cyclist. I'm very involved in the triathlon community. That's a whole nother part of like just the journey of all of our friendships and communities that join together to help us, become who we are.
Yeah.
But some of our friends who are riding on the Katy Trail texted me and was like, there's this spot on the Katy Trail. You got to check it out. And I'm like, it's an old barbecue place. I'm like, I know exactly what it is. I said, because I was just down there a few months ago and I was scoping out locations for a future place. And I came across this building and it had all these garage doors. And I was like, whoa, I had to pull in, I had to stop. And I started like walking around. I'm taking pictures of the place. I started talking to the people. I'm like, who put these garage doors in? Ended up being the same people that put the garage doors in our O'Fallon location.
Oh wow.
And so I knew the property in and out. Again, I had pictures from way before it ever happened. So whenever he told me what it was, I looked it up, and then we went there and we walked through it one day, had an offer the next day, and then now I think we're barely a year old here. I mean, it's just a little over a year old. And so we opened our first location.
Some moments aren't meant for the crowd. They're meant for the connoisseur. Welcome to the Barrel Room Bourbon Club, an exclusive private sanctuary for those who appreciate the rare, the remarkable, and the refined. Here, fellowship flows as smoothly as the bourbon in your glass. Conversations linger, friendships deepen, and every pour carries a story worth telling. As a single barrel member, your privileges are as exceptional as your palate, including coveted access to the blind bottle, our signature tradition where one distinguished member claims an extraordinary bottle of bourbon, worthy of any collection. Whether it's savoring a private pour from a bottle few have ever seen, or raising a glass among those who share your passion, the Barrel Room is where rarity meets camaraderie. The Barrel Room Bourbon Club. Rare bourbon, true fellowship, unforgettable moments.
And so now we have a contract on this building. We were going to build it out, and now we're going back to the banks, and the banks are like, "You guys don't have 1 year experience." Like, no, and like, no. I mean, so we try to not go to the first bank that we went with because we look for a different well. But then we drag our tails back to our first bank. We're like, "Okay, would you guys do this?" They're like, "Well, let's look at your numbers. Let's see everything." Mm-hmm. We presented our numbers, and I think that's one lesson I learned from the beginning is don't take cash out of the business. Keep the money in the business. Mm-hmm. Buy assets, not liabilities. Good old, Rich Dad Poor Dad 101.
Great book.
And so I kind of learned that I learned that early, and I was like, okay, well, let's keep the cash in here, and we were able to show the bank. They were able to look at our numbers and like, look, you're paying this other brewery for the beer. If you can make it yourself, you're gonna save money. Sure. And your location's making enough money that it can pay this rent and that rent for and that note, and so. They're like, all right, yeah, we'll take a risk on you. So they did SBA funding, so we were able to buy the building and all of the brewing equipment.
Oh, nice!
And so we bought a 7-barrel brew system, and so it's in Defiance, right on the Katy Trail.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful spot.
And we crushed it. Like first year.
What year was that?
This was 2019. 2019 was like opening April, May. We crushed it, but then June happened. Most people don't remember it was a flood. That year. So the road covered over, and so our summer was washed away. Like we sucked this summer. We barely scraped by, which is actually good because we weren't ready for that location to be what it was. Reset ourselves. The fall we did really good, and then winter sucks because it's just winter, and then we're ready for 2020, and then COVID happens.
Yeah.
And
but that might have helped you.
It was actually one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Think about the bourbon industry in that time.
Oh yeah, it's exactly what happened. I remember I told people I'm with, all the staff, like, hey guys, sorry you don't have a job. We're shut down. We'll figure it out. I went online, created an online store overnight. Posted it out there. I was like, hey, I got these 4-packs that we just canned all this beer. Yeah. Looking for people who buy it. I'll deliver it to you tomorrow. I got 100 orders, and I call back all the staff. I'm like, I can't deliver 100 all across St. Charles. Come back to work. You got a job. So let them all do that. They got tipped. So that's awesome. We paid them to do all the deliveries. Yeah. So for 2 or 3 weeks, we just did deliveries. And then at that point, St. Charles County is like, okay, if it's a restaurant, or if it's an outdoor facility, you can be open. Well, the whole place is garage doors, rooftop decks. So we're like, we're an outdoor facility. And no other place in Defiance. Yeah. All the other places in Defiance stayed like closed, like down the bike. I don't know why the biker bars down the street closed. The wineries were open, and everyone showed up. I mean, you couldn't buy a bicycle during COVID. So the Katy Trail was just packed. It was packed. And we kind of became regionally known. People just saw us. They realized like, oh wow, this beer's good. People who never knew who we were in North O'Fallon, most people still don't even know we have a place there in North O'Fallon. And so getting in Defiance, getting in wine country kind of made us a regional brand for St. Louis. So at this point, now we're making more beer than we can physically store. So we were making a lot of beer, but we had no physical space to move it. We didn't have a big enough walk-in cooler. We needed a new facility. We needed another place. Our brewer at the time was like, I can't do this here anymore. And so then we were looking for real estate, trying to find something that maybe we can just rent or lease, and we couldn't find it because it was COVID time. There was no places especially the industrial space just skyrocketed. We couldn't find anything, even just to rent. So in Augusta was the Augusta Brew House, that was for sale, and it was prices was going down because Augusta wasn't really doing as well, and so we were able to buy that property and move all of our equipment there. We built a brew house there. They weren't actually brewing beer there, but we moved our brew house there and did all that in around 21.
Wow.
Nice.
So now we brew all of our beer in Augusta, Missouri.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what a journey.
Oh yeah,
I mean, all that happened in basically 3 years.
yeah.
And now you're up to 5 locations, with 4 corporately owned,
Well,
1
right.
franchise. You've now went franchised.
Literally in one that we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, Wildwood.
Oh yeah, yeah, but I don't even think you talked
Frenchtown.
about
Oh, we haven't
Frenchtown
done Frenchtown. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where we're at.
We're here. Yeah, that one happened like kind of it was a great story for this one. I was part of the tourism board for St. Charles County, and Marcia Adams, who Bob and Marcia Adams, that's why I'm drinking Bob's beer right now. He brews beer in the caboose. This is one of Bob's beers.
Oh, the gentleman we
yeah,
met.
yeah. So we brew beer in the caboose. So anyway, they had this. There was this museum here, and it was the Frenchtown Heritage Museum, and they were like, we need a brewery in Frenchtown. I was like, I would love to have a brewery like in Frenchtown. It's been my target. I don't want to be on Main Street. I want to be in Frenchtown. I want to be the community place where people can drive their golf carts, walk their dogs, and just be the community place to do that. So like, well, let me show you around some places. Well, the problem is you guys can't see it, but like right next door, you got this building that is boarded up downstairs, and someone's living upstairs. And they don't want to sell it because that's their house, and they know they can't get. I mean, they've owned that for many years, and they probably bought it for $20,000, and it's paid off, and they can't go buy a house anywhere.
Sure.
So this whole strip is filled with people like that who live upstairs, and the downstairs is just nothing and boarded up. And so no one wants to sell property down here. And they had the museum, they own the museum, and they're like, well, we probably need to think about, we're all getting older. We need to probably figure out our next kind of steps for the museum. Maybe we can make it a brewery, but like, what would we do with all the artifacts? I said, well, why don't we make it both, a brewery and a museum? So if you look around everywhere, it's all of the artifacts of Frenchtown Heritage. So it's a brewzim, is what we call it. And so they help with changing the artifacts around. They'll do different themes, they'll do different activities. Here in a couple hours, we have a happy hour. So the money that they've received from selling the real estate, they've been using it to kind of invest back into community projects and here in the community. And so it's a very, very community driven space.
And I know you touched on that caboose back there. Do you want to let the audience know what that is?
Yeah, so there was
we walked out there earlier. And
I'll get some footage and I'll drop in this episode.
Like, where's he going? And then all of a sudden, he started walking on this caboose.
I was like, well, we don't want to record outside. It's awful to record outside.
That's what I thought you were
tried
doing.
to do it before, and then like a bird chirps and it overtakes the mic, and then you don't hear your word, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
so there's a caboose. So like when we were walking the property, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. We could put the bar here. We could put garage doors here, and then we go outside. I was like, wait, there's a caboose. It's like, does that come with the building? They're like, well, I mean, I guess so. I'm like, so wait, so you're saying I would own a caboose? Where do I?
And brew beer.
Where do I? Right. So when we were walking through it, like the first thing I was like, what we could do with this space? And Bob was like, yeah, you know what I would like to do with this space? And we're like, brew beer. And we're like. He was like, "That's my dream." I was like, "Let's make it happen."
That's awesome.
So that was that was from the beginning. It took us way too long to actually get the brew house open. It just opened up actually a few months ago, and so unfortunately it took a little while. But now it's open. Now it's operating. Bob's brewing beer in there. So we bought a homebrew system. We've always been about kind of our roots about homebrewing. In O'Fallon, the brewer system that's there right now, we have. Donnie, who has Interruption Brewing, he won a homebrew contest for us, and his beer, he's like one of our regular customers, and so we're like, dude, this is like really good. Why don't you start brewing beer for us? So he will make beer for us that's only in O'Fallon. So he's doing some home brews. Bob's doing home brews here. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So talk to us about how you got into. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's start on the flights here.
Okay,
and let's hit on the flights. For the audience who
you want the hazelnut one there?
Start
with the Belgian first.
Yep. We got a beautiful flight here that we're going to go through real quick, and then we'll jump into more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, these are our house beers. The Belgian White's our most popular beer. We probably, sell more of that here than anywhere else. I poured you guys the
That's
hazy.
delicious.
The hazy. You already drank the hazy.
Yeah.
That
You can tell.
that's
I
our
didn't like
most.
it.
Yeah, that's our most like popular like off premise. Like when we sell it
Yeah.
to stores and like we're kind of people love our hazy IPA. So that was the Belgian White is just a traditional
It's
like.
good.
I'd say it, but it's, when people come in, they're like, "Can I get a Bud Light?" And we're like, "No, we don't have that."
Yeah.
What's closest thing? We're like, "Well, we have our Belgian White. It's like a Blue Moon, and it's just kind of just a base
Do people
beer."
even drink Bud Light anymore?
They still do sometimes. Well, it might be Coors Light or Yingling. Or
Well, I was going to
something
say, I know
else.
the not
It might
the
not
number one beer
actually
anymore.
be Bud Light, but they'll ask for it. They still ask for something like Coors Light or Miller Light or something like that. So that just that's part of what it is.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then the pale ale is an American pale ale. It's a little more on the amber side than the hoppy side, so it's not too.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't call it a West Coast pale ale. I think it's just a good American pale ale.
It's good.
That's one of my. I probably drink the most of that. It's not my favorite one. My
do
favorite
enjoy
one
that one.
is the American IPA.
Yeah, I'm a big IPA guy.
I love that one.
That's not what I had. I had the hazy,
But
right?
whatever that ABV of that one, 6.5. I can't.
Yeah.
After 2 or 3 of those, I'm like, I probably shouldn't
Ooh, that's good.
keep drinking.
He's a big space
IPAs.
dust.
Okay,
fan.
yeah. Well, that one's up there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I used
This-
to drink that a lot.
Ooh, that's
This
nice.
one's our West. This is a true solid West Coast IPA. And what I hate about breweries these days is they're shifting where everything is hazy.
Yeah.
It's the hazy Belgian, the hazy pale ale, the hazy brown, like everything, no matter what, is just hazy. And we're not going to do that. We're going to stick to always having these staple classic styles, but we're going to have
That's
a hazy,
good. Like-
and our hazy is very good. But the West Coast IPA, we're never going to change that. It's
Sure.
always going to be a solid, very hoppy, in your face.
I guess question is what makes it hazy? Like I don't
A lot
know.
of things. It really comes down to the yeast. Believe it or not, if you make this beer with that yeast, it changes it. And if you
Gotcha.
make that beer with this yeast, it changes it.
It's just the yeast strain.
The yeast strain,
Wow.
and we'll put some oats in that, which kind of gives a little more mouthfeel. But the bottom line is the yeast. The
Okay.
yeast is doing the majority of the work.
Wow,
Gotcha.
that's interesting.
Yep.
And then what's the last one here?
So that's the hazelnut coffee milk stout. That was I can explain. That was a mistake where we were
That's really
we were
good.
wanting to do just a.
Oh, that is good.
We were
I
just
don't
going to do
really
a
like
coffee
stouts.
stout, but this one got some hazelnut in it and some lactose in it, so it's a hazelnut coffee milk
Makes
stout.
drinking in the morning. Okay.
It is. Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
It's and again, a lot of people are like, won't have stouts on their menu during the summer.
That's nice.
We will always have this one
It is.
at
It's,
all locations. It's one of our house beers, and so
it's good.
it'll always, yeah, it's-
I taste the hazelnut for sure.
I love
That's
it.
Yeah,
right.
they're
Yeah,
all
so
good.
it's freshly roasted coffee. We roast the coffee. We used to roast. We had a roastery, our own coffee roastery. We closed that down,
Mhm.
but we have someone roast the coffee for us, and so then we add the hazelnut extract right then and there. So it's a
I've been
solid,
seeing a lot of the whiskey companies now are like selling their own coffee that's been like soaked
yeah,
in
they'll
their
soak
whiskey.
it in there. Yeah,
Or their bourbon.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
throw it in the barrel and let
Yep.
it sit in there for
Yep.
2 to 3 weeks, and whatever
They'll do it.
residuals in there will soak it up,
Yep.
and then they'll pull it back out and bag it, and it's barrel aged.
I think
beans.
actually I think they do it while it's green,
Okay.
green coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, because the coffee absorbs a lot of things, and then they
Mhm.
roast it, and so it's been absorbed. I think that's how they
Gotcha,
do it.
okay.
Because you can't.
Beats me. I just know it's
I don't
good.
think you can take. I don't think you can take freshly roasted coffee and put it in the beans because the
Sure.
beans would get too soaked with the whiskey. I don't know. I think it's the green beans that they do. I could be wrong. It's probably a little bit of both.
Gotcha.
Who knows?
Yep.
Someone let us know.
Yeah, someone let us know. Comment below. right.
Right.
I should
So-
start a podcast.
Yeah, you should. You should. I mean, I started one in 2020 during COVID just because I needed
Right.
something to network because I couldn't leave my damn house.
There
I'm
you
in
go.
sales. And I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast where I interview CEOs of companies in
Okay.
St. Louis. And she goes, you don't even know how to do that. I'm like, I know,
Well.
but I'm going to figure it out. My first episode was Lisa Nichols, who owns Technology Partners in Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Went great. Went to edit the file, deleted it.
No.
Called her back, said, "Can we redo that?" She laughed. Thankfully, she knew me and she knew my father-in-law, and so it was all good. But I just started watching YouTube videos and figured it out. And now
Yeah.
I did that for 5 years. We had 112, 115 episodes and like
Yeah.
a ton of followers. But then I got bored of it, and I
Mhm.
said, "That's what I said to him. I'm like, I'm done with that. Like,
Right.
it's not a passion of mine anymore. It used to be a passion, and now it became work. And it becomes work. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Right. I have a job that makes me
Right.
money.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is fun.
Right.
You just go around and talk to businesses and sample their whiskey and their bourbon and beer now.
Right.
Meet great people along the way.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
that's what
Makes
we love
really good
about it,
people along
so.
the way. We were at Cottle Village on for their episodes dropping this Friday.
Cool.
You'll drop next Friday.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's all about just meeting cool
Yeah.
people and promoting their brand and promoting their history.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So you made a comment when I was setting up and you were talking to Kenny here about if we knew the reason you got into whiskey, it might shock us or something along those lines.
Yeah,
so why don't you go into that? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have multiple locations, and we brew beer in Augusta. And there's this thing called the Missouri ATC, Alcohol, Tobacco Commission. I don't know. There's this TTB, the Alcohol, Tobacco Tax Bureau, and pretty much they control everything, right? And back after Prohibition, they created the 3-tier system.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay, 3-tier system. Everyone loves it, right? Especially the distributors. Yes. The distributors love it.
Yes.
The distributors love it because they became distributors and they were able, because back in the day, the brewer would make the beer, they would distribute the beer, and they would own all the bars.
Oh, okay.
And it was a monopoly. And so after Prohibition, they created the 3-tier system to break up with a monopoly. So specifically, Anheuser-Busch could no longer be the distributor, or Anheuser-Busch's family could not be the distributor because it was part of their family. So who became the distributor? Their best friends, Cry, and many other people. And there was a lot of control. And so in the beer history, craft beer kind of hit this pivotal moment when Anheuser-Busch sold.
Oh, I'm 100%
because the distributors controlled all of the beer distribution. In St. Louis, you think about some pioneers of the craft brewery, Schlafly and O'Fallon Brewery. Who, not with us anymore. But back in the day, they couldn't even get their beer here in the local because if you try to take your beer to Schnucks, well, Schnucks or Deerbergs, whoever, the distributor does all the stocking. If you go to a restaurant or you go to a bar or you go to a hotel and you're like, hey, I'm Mr. Good News and I want to have my beer on your tap, they would say, well, you can't have your beer on this tap. Can you provide your own taps? Can you provide your own kegerators? Can you do all this? Because the distributors paid for those. And if the distributor puts those in, then it's only going to be the beer that they distribute. And at that point, it was exclusively only either Anheuser or Miller, Coors, whatever that distributor. So it was very controlled with those products. Also with that is I learned that when we sell beer to a distributor, the percentage might only be 20, 30%. The percentage they're getting from the big guys is 40% or more.
Jeez.
And the salespeople, if they come in and they put a Good News beer on tap, great. But if another brewery comes in and says, hey, we'll give you a kickback if you put our beer on tap, and if you can replace someone else's beer on tap and keep it on tap, we'll give you an extra whatever. Right. So what's the salesperson going to do? They're going to do that.
Exactly.
And if you think about it, if you see on the side of those distributors' trucks, what brand is on that truck? Well, who paid for that brand? And so that helps pay for a lot of tires and oil changes. And so it was a very it was a very political and challenging space to be in for craft breweries. And we're now figuring this out. Legislative, it's very, very regulated. I mean, just highly regulated. So a brewery cannot distribute beer. So legally, we have to sell our beer to a distributor, and then each location has to buy it. So I got to sell my beer to someone, and then they got to buy that to sell it at these places. And so that doesn't make financial sense.
No, it makes
and
no
so
sense at
when
all.
I talked to the
But
ATC,
nothing our government does
no
make
one
sense.
makes sense. And if you look at some of these laws, if you look at some of the Missouri laws, you will actually see like some things that are writing. You're like, dude, that is like prohibition. Like that's like like this is like bootlegging licensing that's still written. Like some of these laws just haven't changed. They're that old. So what we learned is in the brewery space, a lot of breweries. There's three main licenses in both federal and state, but in federal, mostly Missouri, there's a brewery license. There's one called a 22% solicitor. It's a stupid name.
Yeah.
Why do they call it I have no idea why they call them solicitors. It makes no sense. But it's a 22%.
Makes it confusing, that's for sure.
Basically it's a winemaker's license. So let's make it simple. You have a brewery license, you have a winemaker's license, and you have your distillery license. The rule is if you are a winery, you can make wine and you can also make beer. And if you are a winery, you can become a distributor. And if you're a distributor, you can distribute beer. So you can make the beer, sell it to your distributor. You have two different licenses. One makes the wine and beer, one sells it to the distributor, and the distributor can then go sell it to other locations. So that was one option. And most breweries that are out there doing some self-distribution do their winemaker's license. The challenge with that is you have to make 200 gallons of wine a year.
Oh, Jesus.
And so most of them will do cider. And many of them will make it and just dump it down the drain, or at least just pay the excise taxes and just not do it well.
Right.
So we were going to go with the winemaker license, but we have 5 locations. So each location has to be a winemaker. So that's 1,000 gallons of wine that I'm not going to make a year, or cider I'm going to make a year. So the next level up is a distillery. And so if you have your distillery license, which it's not a distillery, it's a DSP, distilled spirits
permit
plant.
Plant.
Yeah, it's called a distilled spirits plant.
Plant.
And the plant has a license, and then inside that license you have like 2 or 3 different licenses. You have an actual distilling license, you have a labeling license, and you have ones like some stupid
It's a rectifier.
Yeah. Whatever. I get a rectifier. It's a horrible name for.
And the label license is a cola, fola.
Yeah,
and you
it's
gotta
so jacked up.
plug in the information on every single label, get it approved.
Yeah, and then you got to pay your taxes. So anyway,
it's all about paying taxes.
So it's it's the tax bureau. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It is the tax bureau that you're dealing with.
But through the ATC, you're talking about the solicitor. That 22% whatever solicitor. Well, I think the one that we have to apply for is the manufacturer solicitor. So I think which allows you to do all 3. And then you have to go and apply through the TTB for the DSP, and then you got the county and the city.
Oh yeah. Oh God! Imagine 5 locations and all of the license that we pay. I mean, we pay tens of thousands of dollars a year.
So there's 4 different ones you technically have to get.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we have a distillery license, we have a brewery license, we have a wholesaler license. That's for the federal. Then you got the state, and then you got the county, and you got the city.
Yep.
So every location has to be multiplied by all those, and it gets outrageous. It's the
state and the TTB don't talk to each other, so they don't have a clue. So it's just it's an interesting dynamic that you have to go through, and there's a reason why not everybody does it.
Right.
I mean,
it's
a process.
Right.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But if it was easy and everyone did it, then
Exactly.
Be too many of us.
Too many.
So there already is a lot.
So having the whiskey now allows you to self-distribute.
Yep. So now that we have our DSP, we can now have our wholesale license, and so we can distribute our own beer. And in Missouri, it specifically states for the purpose of tourism, which is great because this is we're in a tourism-based business. People come here all the time, all of our locations, because of we're craft beer or whatever. I would like to change some of the laws because it's kind of complicated now, even with future franchisees. It's kind of cleared as so every future location of ours has to be a DSP. So I have to designate a space. I have to have a federally bonded area, a closet, something that says this is our DSP. So our caboose is a DSP.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And it has to have an exterior facing door, and it has to have a locked space, and it has to have security. It has to have all these things in place, and no public access. So all of our locations, we have to designate this one little spot. We had to build in Wildwood. We had to put a shipping container and just make this designated. Here's our DSP. That's just for purposes of taxes to say
makes it work.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's finding
Finding loopholes.
You didn't say that, but
I
didn't say
You
that.
didn't
I
say
didn't say
that.
that.
You
You
found
didn't
a way
say
to
that.
self-distribute, which is awesome, and that's one way to do it. And also, you got you into a whole different industry as far
Right.
as crafted spirits, and
Yeah.
and it's kind
Yeah.
of a
And it was great timing. So
Which one are we? Which one are we drinking?
This
first?
is the rye. This
This
is the
is the rye.
rye.
Is this the
5-year rye.
5
5 year rye. Okay.
So we have 2 ryes here. We have a 5
5-year
year
and
and your
12
12
year.
year.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they the same mash bill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that 5 year is good.
They're both MGP
Mhm.
95. So so while all this was going on, COVID, everything, like I started getting into bourbons, whiskeys, like everyone else. Like it just kind of graduate up to the next thing, and I'm just trying to learn what's good, what's bad, what's whatever. And I remember I found some whiskeys that I just really liked and enjoyed. I found some ones I didn't like. I really found like the ryes was just my personal preference. Like Templeton Rye was like one of those redemption rye, like all those. Those are just some ryes that I really liked. We went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and we were going there just for a family visit, hanging out, and going to all these distilleries, and they were god awful. Like every one of them were just, it was flavored moonshine. I mean, they like you sell this?
Yeah.
People are lined up to drink this crap. Like it was all just a big show. And we were in this little Airbnb off in the mountains, and there was this one little King's Distillery in Gatlinburg, and I went there, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try the rye. And I'm like, whoa, this is really good. Like this is fantastic. Let me try the wheat. Holy crap, this is very good. Let me try this. Is really good. And I'm like, where's your distillery? Where's it at? Thanks, he explains. So we don't distill it. You know, I source it. I'm like, okay, wait, is that MGP thing that I keep hearing people talk about? Because I heard like here in St. Louis, there's a couple other distilleries, and that brought up a whole new world that I realized most of the distilleries aren't even distilling their own.
And he knows the stats better than I do. But you think about how many different brands come through, like the distilleries. It almost is kind of like a monopoly, if you really think about it.
Yeah, a distiller from MGP came in and did a tasting here in St. Louis at the St. Louis Bourbon Society, the Sugar Cube Club, and he said 75% of the brands are sourced from MGP.
I believe
and that doesn't, I mean, and on top of that, there's even more brands that source from other places. You know, so it's amazing that I would say, you know, I don't know, 80-90% of brands are probably sourcing.
And right on the bottle, what do you see right up front? That I
distilled in Indiana, bottled in Missouri. Yep.
I made it very clear. I am not going to put it on the side of the bottle. Distilled in Indiana. I did not call ourselves a distillery. It's Good News Brewing Company. Distilled in Indiana, bottled in Missouri. I was like, I am not going to try to put on a facade that we are a distillery and we're doing this, and people think that, oh, you're distilling your own. Like, nope, we're selecting, you know, we are, you know, we say, you know, we're selecting bottles, we're selecting barrels, selected bottles, selected and bottled by Good News Brewing Company. Unfortunately, we don't actually get to go there and like taste them out. MGP so big. They will send us samples, so that was fun. That was like, so I go.
We get to do it all the time, man.
Right? It's so cool. Like I contacted MGP. I was like, hey, this is Good News Brewing Company. I'm gonna start a distillery. Like, what do you want? I'm like, well, I don't know. What do you got? Like, I started, and all of a sudden, a box shows up from FedEx, and all these like whiskeys, like with my name. I'm like, dude, this whiskey literally has my name on it.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's awesome to see that on the label, you know.
So I started taking it to Grillo's. I went to him. I'm like, okay, dude, try. I know it, but you really know it. Like you tell. So I started taking this whiskey to all of the people that I knew that just were giving me samples. And it's amazing. You posted on social media that you're looking for people to help taste whiskey. Like everyone shows
they come out of the woodwork, probably.
Seriously,
But people started inviting me to their house. And I went to like all these crazy people's houses and would see their collection. I'm like, dude, you got a problem. Like,
he's got a problem.
I mean, people.
Or
like,
you landed on the gold mine.
Exactly. So I've got all these new friends now that I like, and I brought it to them, and they tried it. I got to drink theirs. I'm like, this is so freaking good. Like, this is just as good as everything else, and the price that I can get this at, and we can bottle this. And so then we were like, all right, we got to come up with a name, and you know. It's called Be Still. And if you're in the faith, space,
sure. I love it.
You know that, be still is kind of my life reminder, because as an entrepreneur, you just go, and
So this one is the 12-year. That 5-year is really good. And are they both 95.5?
they're both 95. Yeah, they're both same mash bill.
Same mash bill.
Yeah, same mash bill. One's 5, and we had the option to get the 12. I was like, all right, if I'm going to launch this, I want to get a little bit of street cred, and I know that people are like, oh, whatever. But I was like, if I get a 12-year, people are going to be like, the snobs are going to be like, oh, well, I guess I go, it's MGP. But it's 12-year MGP. I guess I'll drink it. I'll try it. Because there are some snobs out there that will not drink it because it's MGP. But the other people are like, I've had people who contacted me like, don't do MGP. Don't settle yourself. I was like, dude, they make great juice, and I'm not a distillery. I'm not going to be a distillery. I'm not trying to be a distillery. I got to provide a very good product for people, because if someone's going to do something, I want it to be good.
Well, the great thing to me is those people that say like, oh, screw MGP or whatever. I would never drink MGP. I guarantee you they've had MGP and they don't freaking realize it. I guarantee it. Because when I first got into this with Kenny and doing this podcast and the Bourbon Club and all that, I didn't know who the hell MGP was. You go to start out, and you're like, I have a collection of bourbon. I got, 200 bottles. You start looking at the label on the bottle. There's bottles I never even thought of. Right. That I thought they were like a really cool distillery. No, they just got the juice from MGP.
And it's funny because I was drinking with another buddy one time, and he's like, man, I don't like that MPG stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, but this whiskey's phenomenal, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you realize what you're drinking, right? He goes, no, it ain't. It says blah, blah on the label. And I go, all right, turn it around, look at the back. Let's talk about this.
Like people.
But it's just funny because
people like me who, didn't know the industry as well as I know it now, I would have never known that there was like one big ass distillery that has 75% of the market, which is just kind of crazy.
I know I had this 12-year first when I went to Defiance because my wife loves Defiance Ridge Vineyards, and so I always make her come over to your place.
I'll go there, but we gotta go get a beer too.
We got to get a beer and a pizza. Right? But when I got over there and I saw the bottles out there, I'm like, oh well, wait a minute, I'm gonna get a whiskey and a pizza. And I saw her 12-year. I'm like, oh shit! I went right to that, and I said, I want that one. Immediately because I like certain age statements. So I was like, ooh, that's a rye too, and I'm a big rye fan. So I was like, I'm gonna try that 12-year rye. It's 130 proof. And then when I tried it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. So I know who MGP is. I've never had a problem with it. I think they make really fantastic products. I know some of their wheat products are really good too. They're just a massive contract distiller, and it's one of those things where they produce a lot of whiskey and a lot of good whiskey, and a lot of brands use it. I mean, it's what they do.
I'm going to say 9 out of 10, 99 probably out of 100 really don't care where this is coming from. At least here, we're a brewery first. We are, we built. I get probably one of the biggest questions is like, how are you doing it? How is Good News growing while other breweries are closing down? There's more breweries closing down now than probably opening, and it's very simple. We focus. Other breweries are focusing on getting beer out the door. We're focused on bringing people in the doors and gathering and hanging out and spending time and creating an experience. And it's just been our mission from the beginning. And we feel like, okay, the people are coming in and wanting something more than beer. The industry has changed. We have to adapt to that change, and we can't just say, oh, we're only going to do beer and that's it. So we're doing this.
In every firehouse, every patrol car, every ambulance, and every military unit, there's a bond forged in courage, sealed by sacrifice. At Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits, we raise a glass to the heroes who never made it home. Crafted in honor, shared in remembrance. Each bottle of our handcrafted whiskey tells a story of bravery, of brotherhood, of lives lived in service. And with every pour, you're giving back. Because a portion of every bottle goes directly to organizations supporting the families of fallen first responders right here in our area. To the ones who answered the call, to the ones who still do, and to those we'll never forget, Fallen Brothers, Crafted Spirits. Raise one. Remember them. Available now. Drink with honor. Support with heart.
Next, we just got some vodka.
Awesome.
We got that from Ultra Pure, and it's Missouri-based, 7 times distilled. And getting into those weeds, I'm learning. You think that's bad? Vodka's.
You know what's crazy is
Vodka is probably
Yes.
there's probably only 2 companies that make 99%
Right,
of the vodka.
yeah.
I don't know, I'm making that stuff, but it's pretty insane how
Sure.
much vodka is only coming from a few suppliers.
Well,
because once you redistill it, you can then change it to say distilled in Missouri or distilled wherever.
Oh, really?
So so most distilleries will buy the neutral grain spirit, and you can buy it in a tote for freaking dirt cheap. Like you can buy it cheaper than water. Like literally,
that's insane.
you can buy vodka
That's
cheaper than water, and the price that it comes down to by the pour. Don't tell anyone this. Shut this off.
Yeah.
When we do a vodka lemonade, we're paying more for the lemonade than the vodka.
That's just wild.
That's insane.
That's wild.
And it's just because it's these massive
Mhm.
production facilities
Sure.
are distilling it, and they're selling them by you can buy them by the truckloads. Like you can literally
Yeah.
get a truckload of like 192 proof.
Oh,
192 proof. So when it comes to your facility, it needs to be proofed
Yeah.
down
Mhm.
to
Big time.
80,
But that's
to 80 proof.
How much
and
more
so,
volume you're gonna
yep.
get?
So it's you get
almost double.
yeah, almost a
Yeah.
double yield for that. And so we're going to start doing vodkas, and we do vodkas now, and the greats, friends of ours,
Mhm.
and but just the cost of what we could do for it. We already have the license, so why not? So
Yeah.
so coming out here in the next few months, we're going to have our own vodkas. We'll probably even do our own agave spirits, all those things. Yeah.
That's
Sweet.
awesome.
That's
man.
awesome.
Well, I want to give you a shout out.
Thanks, man.
I love the faith piece.
Appreciate
I already
it.
drank my whiskey, so I'm gonna cheers you with some beer. But
Oh, yeah.
I love the faith piece. I love the whiskey brand Be Still. And you made a comment just a minute ago that you were talking about how are we growing when other ones are closing?
Yeah.
And obviously I heard what you said, but the first thing that popped in my head was hard work and faith.
Yep.
I'm a huge Christian myself. I went to Lutheran grade school. I went to Lutheran high school.
Lutherans love to drink. So
The Lutherans love to drink, so
No,
Catholics, by the way.
Catholics, Lutherans,
Yeah.
great customers.
Yes, exactly. And I didn't know that about you until today.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really cool. And I love how at the end of this episode, it all tied back to that Bible study that you had in the beginning,
Yep.
where it was all about the experience and bringing
Right.
people together.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the comment of saying, hey, we're not about selling beer out the door, we're about bringing people in the door, goes, I think, to who you are as a person. So I'd like to say cheers to that.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thanks,
Thanks,
Jeremy.
guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like, share. I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Grill's Chop and Barrel, Maui's Liquor, Edward Jones, Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits, and Barrel Room Bourbon Club. We'll see you next Friday.
Cheers.